Here's a great title. Official spokesperson for gay, super cute Asians. Vōng Shō gave that title to himself as a stand-up comic here in Toronto. He started Toronto's first festival showcasing Asian comics. It's called Rice. More than 80 comics will take the stage as part of Asian Heritage Month. He's performing at one of those shows tomorrow night at the Rivoli on Queen Street West. Vōng Shō is with me in studio now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Where does that come from? Official spokesperson for gay, super cute Asians?
Well, I first started comedy out in Alberta, and I had to find a way to very quickly introduce the fact that I was gay and Asian, I suppose. But when I would use that line, it'd say official spokesperson for gay, and then the audience would gasp, and then I'd say super cute, and then I would win them back over. So it was just sort of a quick way of introducing myself and then moving on.
And it worked. Tell me about this festival. You started this Rice Festival, as I mentioned, the first festival showcasing Asian comics. Why did you feel the need to create something like this?
Well, I think representation in media is really important. Like when I grew up, I always say this to people, like the only yellow family I saw on TV was The Simpsons. And so I just really wanted to represent a voice of the people I grew up with that I thought wasn't being heard. And actually it first started out not as a festival, but it was supposed to be just a one-day showcase, the show at the Rivoli. But I got over 80-something submissions. I did not know there were that many Asian comedians in Toronto.
What did that tell you when that many people signed up?
Well, that told me that there's a lot of talent here, and maybe they weren't getting the opportunities that they should have been getting. And so I just thought to myself, thinking back to when I was a young Asian comedian and how I would feel if I wasn't able to make it on a showcase during Asian Heritage Month, I'd feel like I was being rejected by my own people. So we expanded from the one show to a whole month of shows.
You talked about that idea of representation. What would it have meant if you were in the audience and you saw more people who looked like you up on stage?
Oh, it would have meant the world to me. Like, I remember one of my proudest moments in comedy was I was performing in Alberta. And actually, after one of my shows, there was this super butch, straight, older white guy who came up to me and he was like, wow, nobody's ever made me wish I was gay and Asian before. But you guys make it look super fun. And it was a proud moment for me because I was thinking, wow, if he can feel that, what if there was a young gay Asian kid in the crowd? How would that make him feel? And so sometimes, what I was saying on stage probably mattered less than the fact that, that somebody would be seeing a young, strong, proud Asian on stage would send the bigger message than anything that came out of my mouth.
When you didn't see yourself on television, where did you turn?
I definitely got into more traditional Asian culture. My parents were really strong in the community. My dad was the president of the Lao Association. So even though I didn't see us represented in media, I was very much surrounded by proud Asians who are always proud of our heritage.
When did you realize you were funny?
I didn't really realize it until I moved from Winnipeg. So I grew up in Winnipeg, and then I went to university in Alberta at the University of Calgary. And I didn't really realize the way that I thought was that different from people, but definitely, like in Winnipeg, it's a very liberal city. We had a gay mayor growing up, so it was just my viewpoint. So then going to Alberta, where it was much more conservative, at least at the time that I was there, I think my viewpoints, just the way that I had to gain acceptance at school, was talking about where I came from, and I think being funny definitely helped me become accepted.
What about getting on stage for the first time and telling jokes? I mean, that can be terrifying because if it works, you have the audience that laughs at you. If it bombs, people could eat you alive.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is I'm pretty comfortable on stage because before I did comedy, I used to organize human rights conferences for different organizations such as AIDS Calgary. So I was used to being on stage anyway. And no matter what the topic, even if it's AIDS or cancer, if you're talking about it for 45 minutes, you have to be somewhat funny to maintain people's attention.
Even in those really serious subjects.
Yeah, and so when I transitioned into comedy, it was because when I was at the human rights conferences, it felt like I was preaching to the converted. Everybody I was talking to already agreed with what I was saying, and so when I translated what I was saying into comedy, it kind of felt like I would reach a broader audience.
In addition to being funny and organizing this thing that's turned into a festival, you also went to Paris
Yes.
For table tennis? To defend a gold medal in table tennis?
Yes, so last summer I went to Paris to the Gay Games, and I was the defending gold medalist at the previous Gay Games, which was in Cleveland. But because they were in Cleveland, it was so far away from China that Team China didn't show up. So then I went to Paris. I was super confident, but then Team China showed up, and I faced somebody from China. Yeah, and wow, I didn't make it past the first round. In fact, I didn't win a single set. It was like they're playing a totally different sport.
I was going to say, my table tennis is probably a whole lot different than your table tennis, but your table tennis is a completely different sport than those from China.
Yeah, like they were jumping in the air. It almost felt like they were pirouetting. It was like they were literally dancing around me. They were doing these jump smashes. I couldn't even return their serve, to be honest.
At least you got there, and you have one gold medal.
Yes, I have one gold medal, and fortunately for me, I was also playing in badminton, and that went a little bit better for me. I ended up getting a bronze medal in badminton.
Renaissance man, this is what we like. Enjoy yourself at the Rivoli, and good luck with the festival.
Thank you so much.
Vōng Shō performs tomorrow night at the Rivoli. He's the founder of the first ever Asian comedy showcase. It's called Rice. 80+ comics will perform throughout the month as part of Asian Heritage Month.